Hey YouTube, Texas Preparedness here. Since my last video, I've had questions from people kind of wondering about how to size their solar system for their house. So I wanted to kind of like go over some basics. Let's start with like an RV or something. An RV, recreational vehicle, you'd have your deep cycle battery. Uh, then if you want to run like television or something like that, I've had this little small inverter. I've had this thing for like 20 years, so the 400 watt. I would run my laptop computer or charge my phone or electric razor or whatever. I had that thing for like 20 years. Never had a bit of problems with it. And it has a plug in the cigarette lighter connector, and it changes your 12 volts over to 110, so you can operate your 110 devices. Or anytime that you can run something just off of 12 volts, it's even more efficient, because like this here, this is 12 volt, 3 watt bulb that they can use in RVs. This type right here, this is basically like a tent light that you would hang up. Or some of them will come just like this with the screw top, that also a 12 volt. And anytime that you can go off a 12 volt, it doesn't matter if it's lights or refrigerator or freezer. If you can get a 12 volt freezer or a 12 volt refrigerator, that's a lot more efficient than anytime you're changing from a 12 volt over to 110. You kind of lose a little bit of power. Some things you just got to have your 110 for. So, and that's what we're going to go into now. So with the RV, you would have the your battery inverter. Here's another type. This is the 800 watt, and here's another one altogether is a 1250 watt. So this is basically the heart of your system. You have your battery and your inverter, and how long something is going to last is how much of a battery bank, and these batteries in parallel to increase your amp hours. This is 100 amp hour. You want to increase your amp hours, and that's how long your device will run. So to keep this thing charged, now we're going to our solar system. We have our solar panel over here. This is a small one. I use this like a little 20 watt. I'm going to use this for my landscaping. And so this, anytime the sun is out, this solar panel will just keep putting out power, and it will actually ruin your battery unless you have a charge controller. And here's a small charge controller. These are called PWM, which is pulse width modulation. And you see that they're 12 volt. You basically can put 12 volts in, 7 amps, or 14 volts. And it will keep your battery from being ruined by your just the same as with the car. You have a voltage regulator between your alternator and your battery to keep your battery from being overcharged. You have the same thing in the solar system. Here's another type, PWM. And all it does is keep that solar panel from overcharging your batteries. And that's basically what your system is. Now let's go take a step up from there. All right, so now we're out in my washroom, and this is a different kind of charge controller. It's a MPPT, which stands for Maximum Power Point Tracking. And unlike the PWM, that only allows you to put in 12 volts, so it doesn't matter how many panels you have, they've got to be put in parallel and only going with 12 volts. This one allows you to get more out of your solar power, and it will take 100 volts in. So now we can put our panels in series, because even though a panel is rated at 12 volts, it could be putting out as much as 18 volts or more. So we can put them all in series, and we can go with an input from our solar at 100 volts going into this thing. And since volts are and amps are inversely proportional, since you're putting in 100 volts and only putting in about 6 amps, as this charge controller takes his 100 volts down to the 13 or 14 volts to charge a battery, the amps automatically go from the 6 amps up to your 30, and now you're charging your batteries with 30 amps. And I'll show you the battery I have on this system is charging. Now with this system, just like that 100 amp hour, I'm using a much larger battery. This is a 12 volt 200 amp hour battery. And I'm actually, with this system, I'm running a small refrigerator. It only uses like 100 watts. And it runs day and night. And this 200 amp hour, I haven't had a bit of problems. It's a much larger battery. And I have 575 watts up on the roof. And I've got them all in series. So I'm hitting this charge controller with 100 volts at 6 amps, and I'm charging this thing it'll charge up to 14.2 volts before the charge controller will back off, and so it doesn't damage the battery, and at 30 amps. And I'm also running with this one, this system is running that refrigerator. I'm running a 2,000 watt inverter. So now let's go take a look at my latest project. And as you probably remember on my last video, I showed you this portable solar panel rack. And I'm running, this is 1,000 watts, so I have 500 watts up top, 500 watts at the bottom. And just like the ones on my roof, I was telling you I could hit it with 100. So at the top row will be 100 volts coming off, and the bottom row will also be an additional 100 volts coming off. So I have 2 different charge controllers running on each one. Now let's go look at where they hook in. And here you go with my latest creation. What I'm running here is I've got all my shelves built up. I'm running Power Queen batteries. These are 12.8, 200 amp hour. And you see I've got 4 shelves. So I've got 200, 200, I've got another 200 coming, and then finally that 200 from my washroom battery will come out here. And as I was showing you, the 2 solar arrays, I have one coming in right here. I'm just waiting on my breakers. As soon as my breakers come, I'll attach them right here, and they'll go into my battery hookup. All they do is click it on, turn the battery on. It goes into one charge controller. And then my other array comes in down here. I'm waiting on my circuit breakers for that. That's another one. You kick it on. Your voltage is coming into your second charge controller. And then the 2 charge controllers are combined. Here you got your bus bars. From your bus bars, it comes out, goes into another disconnect, down, and they're just hooked up here, sitting here waiting on my breaker. They'll come down to my batteries, charge my batteries, and since I'm going to be running 4 of them, this will be going from the negative to negative to negative to negative. That'll give me 800 amp hours, and then same thing with the positives. And then from there I also come out, and it goes up into one more disconnect and into a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter made by Reliable Electric. And the thing about this inverter is, just like the small one I showed you, it has 2 110 outlets, or it has hardwire. You could hardwire with Romex straight into the house, which that's what I'm going to do, is come up with my Romex. I'm going to go ahead and go into the house for powering the house. And then I'm going to save these little 110 ones for plugging in out here. I'm out in my carport, and to run any like a saw or drill or anything like that. Now the thing about these, I'm iron phosphate batteries. They're great. They have like 4,000 plus charge cycles, unlike like a lead acid battery. They say they have like 700. But the thing about them is they don't want you to charge them if it gets down below 30 degrees. So this cabinet that I built behind this wall is all insulated, R13, all the way around the door. The floor, I had some leftover R30. It's in the floor. Same thing with the ceiling. And so this whole thing will be insulated from the elements. Also, I have ordered it's also made by Victron. Victron is the one that I always use, because one thing I like about its charge controller, it has Bluetooth. So you can see your input from your panels coming in, and then you can see your output going to your batteries and your battery charge. Well, the one thing I also have coming is a Victron, and it attaches to the top of the battery, and it will monitor the temperature in the battery so it doesn't go over or below 30 degrees, because that will damage them. And if you have something like that, then you want to probably add like a little small heater. They have those, I think they're like 12 watts or something like that. And it's a little heater pad that'll go underneath and keep it warm. Now, besides these two charge controllers, I have two more charge controllers right here, and they're waiting for another 1,000 watts of solar panels that I have coming in. So this is my system so far, and I will keep you updated on the future progress, but I'm just letting you take this trip along with me. So if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask any questions down in the comments or whatever, and we'll see you on the next video.